I have a picture in my office, and it's a mother with her arms spread out, and she's holding her children. And oftentimes people will say to me, is that your image for spiritual direction? And I say, well, not the mother holding her children, but the frame of the picture. Because I think spiritual directors need to be a frame, need to provide a place of safety where their directee can explore all the parts of themselves. And so when people come to supervision to me, what I want to look at is, how well did you hold that frame? You know, what prevented you from providing that safe place for another?
Yes.
Or did you do that really well? And then to be very affirming about that for people. You know, so I think we want to help people to look at the gifts that they bring to this work, as well as the places where they need to grow.
Yes.
Knowing that we all need to continue to grow.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I really like that. And the mother with the two, is that the presence of God holding the director and directee, or is that?
No, I think that's the individual holding the parts of themselves.
Okay.
So for me, God is the whole picture.
Okay.
You know, but I think it's, because I really believe that's part of what happens in spiritual direction, is a person learns to hold in a loving embrace all of the realities of their own life, because that is how God holds all of their life. And so often we exclude pieces of our own life, or are in conflict with people, pieces of our own life, or, to use your word, are, have dissonance with pieces of our own life. And I think the invitation in spiritual direction is to say, all is holy, you know? All is holy. And how can we learn that? So
I think that's so true. And that, as you say that, I think that underscores the sacredness of this ministry, both the sacredness of the spiritual direction ministry and supervision, that both are permeated with the divine presence, however we refer to the divine presence, whether it's God or whoever, that it's permeated with a loving divine presence that does hold all of who we are, the scary, the shameful parts of us, the parts that we'd rather not bring out into the open. Our loving God embraces and holds all of that.
Right.
And I think supervision is an opportunity for people to be with those areas that they're holding back from themselves, that can prevent them from going deeper with the directee.
Right.
So I'm a firm believer that, again, the image of the well, that we're only going to go to the depth, or help a directee to go to his or her depth, to the depth that we're willing to go as a spiritual director. And supervision is that process of helping us to go to our depth, so that we can be more fully present to others. Our directees don't need to know anything about us, you know, but they know a lot just by being with us. They know to the depth at which they can go to their own issues and be present there with the loving presence of God by how we are, just our presence. So there's, like, if you want to say, a lot that goes on behind the scene with us as spiritual directors that directees don't need to know, because we're always hopefully doing our own self-supervision and processing these experiences within us, so that we can provide that spacious, as you say, holding, gracious, sacred presence.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and you know, the words that come to me as you say all that, Maureen, is that we can only hold gracefully in a spiritual direction session with another what we can hold gracefully in our own life. And that supervision is the task of helping us to notice those parts of ourselves that we are not holding graciously and gracefully, I would say.
And the focus, what the focus is,
needs to be.
And what we said, and you know, I'll give you a chance to talk about that. The focus of supervision is on the spiritual director, him or herself, and what is stirring within him or her as they're companioning another person.
Right.
Because what is stirring within us and how we are present is so affects our verbal responses.
Yes.
As I often say when I teach about the ministry of spiritual direction and supervision, that 90% of our way of being with a person in spiritual direction or supervision is on a nonverbal level. You know, so much is about who we are and our presence. And supervision is a wonderful process of helping us notice more
About
of what's
that.
stirring within us. You know, self-awareness leads to a greater inner freedom, and therefore we can be more fully present with our directees.
Right.
So it's like a rippling effect. Self-awareness, inner freedom, and then we become more able to be with our spiritual directees in depth.
Right. I think kind of very simply, I often say to people, supervision is about looking at what I said or did, why did I say or do it, and what happened as a result.
Yes.
And I think a lot of your reflection there, Maureen, is about that second piece, like why did I say or do what I did, and what resulted from that.
Yes.
Because ultimately supervision is about helping the spiritual director grow so that she can be of greater service to his or her directees.
Yes.
And it's through that looking deeply into myself and what was happening in me and through me in this time that I think we can ultimately help a director to grow.
Yes.
So,
That's right.
and you know, that good Ignatian word, freedom, you know.
Yes.
So if I grow in freedom, then I can offer freedom to my directees.
Many years ago when I was doing a supervision session, the metaphor of a well came to my mind and heart. And I actually had a sense that we were around a well in the loving presence of God, gazing benevolently and contemplatively into this supervisee's inner well. What was stirring in her, it was a woman at the time, and what was happening in her as she was present with this directee, the dissonant places, the places of struggle,
Right.
you know, her insecurities, her fears, as well as the way that she could stay connected with the directee. And so exploring the dissonant places helped her to become more aware and therefore gain greater inner freedom. So that sense of that our interior is like a well, you know, a lot of life experience, a lot of spiritual experience, and who we are in our inner well has a great impact on how we are present with our directees. I have a very firm belief in the principle that there's a much greater power in a supervisee discovering something for themselves, their own interior process, than if I were to name it for them.
Right.
You know, that it may take them a little more time, it may be a fumbling around. However, if we provide the time and space in a supervision session for somebody to uncover an area of unfreedom and to go deeper into that, then there's a great power of insight and freedom that they are experiencing that is can sometimes be life-changing, you know,
Yes.
as well as specifically helpful for them as a spiritual director.